once since we.
All right, we are live. We're recording. This is Las Vegas Triathlon Club member spotlight. I'm John Mercer. We've got co-host Bob Gamble. Hey, Bob, how's it going?
Oh, it's going real good, John. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, nice warm evening, although it's not too bad tonight, but it is triple digits and hot right now.
Mhm.
And we have our spotlight tonight, Brendan Johnston. Hey, Brendan, how's it going?
Great. How are you guys?
Oh, doing good. Thanks for joining us. And this is great to have you on the spotlight because you've been part of the club for a bit. And I just want to note that it was great to have you show up to our planning meeting when we held
Mhm.
that. And you were diving in not only into triathlon, but you're also diving into how the club works and where you could help or what you could do. And so I really appreciate you stepping forward that way and connecting. So thank you for doing that.
No problem.
Yeah,
Glad I'm a part of it.
Awesome.
yeah,
Well,
that could get you in trouble in the future because you've got an interest, and we're going to be tapping into you and your enthusiasm a whole bunch.
love it.
Absolutely.
And so I will now turn the mic over to Bob Gamble for the official introduction.
Well, thank you, John. Appreciate it, and thanks again for being here tonight. Brendan, and this is weird. I just got started, and all of a sudden I forgot everything I was going to say. So we're just gonna fly by the seat of our pants. But for everybody listening, Brendan joined the club in about a year ago in June of 2023. Did 4 of our club races so far, and has done sprints and Olympics. And it's wonderful having people who are just getting started in there because we can pick their brain about what they started, what they've learned so far. So thanks again for being here, Brandon. And tell us your story, and tell us how a little bit about yourself, about your family. You got a beautiful family, and what got you into triathlon.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, first off, thanks for inviting me. It's great to be here. Certainly great to have such a welcoming when I joined the club and meeting everyone at the first race, meeting the board members and so forth. So everyone's just been super welcoming, especially for a rookie. But yeah, I've been in Vegas for 7 years now. I'm with Tao Group Hospitality. We own and operate a little over 100 venues around the world. I oversee their procurement globally for the company. So I have a great team of 50 so odd people around the world that handle all the food, the alcohol, the new projects, renovations, and so forth. So never a dull moment owning and operating some of the biggest nightclubs in Vegas. So we have a great
Wow.
time, great group of folks there, and been there for about 7 years. We moved here from Dubai. We were there for about 4 years, and then originally from Dallas. So I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son, and we were, looking for the next move back to the States, and that's when they started calling, and it was about that time to, tick the box on our international experience and move back stateside. So glad we did it, and yeah, never looked back. So we're here. So joined the club, as you said, about a year ago. A quick funny story. I ran into Brian Wagner, who I'm sure you guys know, like right on the Beltway Trail, and we're just at a stoplight, never talked, just waved, and we just started talking. He asked if I did triathlons, and I was like, no way, man. No, not a chance. No, I'm good. And never thought anything about it again. And then I lived down the street from David Lerner, and he sees me cycling and stuff. I just moved to the neighborhood and never really thought anything of it. And then a few years go by, finally starting to get into it. Talking to Dave, he's like, "Oh, you should join the Las Vegas Tri Club." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll look into it." And then I joined y'all's Facebook page, and then came out for the that wetsuit fitting clinic that Gamble and everyone were putting on, and so went out to Lake Mead, put on a wetsuit for the first time in my life. I'd never swam open water. I've never even swam a lap in a pool up
Whoa.
until that. And I remember just in the wetsuit clinic, Robert had to come get me pretty quickly and on his paddleboard, telling me to get a little closer to shore. But yeah, I just kind of jumped right into it. And then yeah, June 23, ended up signing up for the clinic, and then with no training, no experience, nothing for that first June race. And that's kind of how my story got into it. So
That's a whole bunch of courage for jumping in like
Yeah,
that and
yeah,
not. And I didn't, you know, I knew that you were new to open water. I didn't know you were new to
never.
swimming.
So it's
That's
interesting about
crazy.
that swim. I was just funny enough. I was looking. I save all my badges, and I write the date of the race and my times on each one. And I was almost 25 minutes. My summer race of 23, and I think I was under 14 minutes on the April race. So 10 minutes off the swim time from grabbing Robert's kayak and everything, and just backstroking and breaststroking or whatever to get to the finish line. I remember he when I started my first group of swim lessons with Robert, he's like, "Tell me about your experience," and I'm like, "Well, I can't swim a lap." So yeah, he got me.
What was his reaction to that?
He was pretty shocked. He's like, I got more cut up for him. So that's why we always have the joke that he's not going to have to come get me anymore. So I'm self-sufficient. So but yeah, it's been a great experience so far. And yeah, I want to continue to get to improve and work on my skills and continue working with my coaches and so forth.
I love it. Well, this is amazing, and you just seem to have this sort of gusto for going for it, and I love that because this is our year of being fearless, and so you're definitely epitomizing that theme for the club. So, what is your sport background? Where you just said it just sounds like you've got some great confidence. Where I totally applaud for signing up for a race. What is your what's your sport background?
I mean, really just played golf through life. That was about it. I did run some,
We have had every sport background, you know, on the planet except
yeah.
golf. No one
I
says,
wish I, I
"Well,
wish
I
I could
started
say I
off
was,
playing golf."
I wish I could say I was good, for someone that has played, but I grew up golfing. Snow skiing would probably be the one I'd probably excel at. If I had to pick a sport that I'm consider myself pretty legit at, it would be snow skiing. I've
Yeah.
been snow skiing for 30 something years. So
Wow.
I grew up mostly playing golf. But yeah, I ran a little cross country in middle school, and then obviously just stopped. And in fact, I think when I did with the exception of the Thanksgiving 5Ks, that's pretty much the only running I would ever do up until I started this endeavor. So
Well, I love it. And so now, I know we're going to start at the end here. You just did Sand Hollow Olympic,
mm,
which is quite the feat now, knowing, your swimming background and your run background, even bike round. I mean, now you're jumping up there in distance pretty quick.
yeah, yeah. No, Sand Hollow was a great achievement for me. I mean, obviously that was the longest race I had done. I ended up, according to my Garmin, swimming an extra, I think 175 or 200 meters in the wrong
Yeah,
direction.
right, right.
But just wanted to get my money's worth, I guess.
Yeah, I love it.
But no, that was a great one because I was super nervous. I've never ran that distance, even though I didn't run it. But I mean, I've never, other than a hike or a walk, I've never competed in that, even at that 10K distance. Biking, I felt really good at, but obviously once I got out of the water, I knew I'd got this. So,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
but yeah, it certainly gives me a benchmark of what I need to improve on and work on.
So,
I just love hearing that, especially that bike. That's got pretty significant hill in there.
Mhm. Yeah, it was a great bike course. I think it was more distracted with just the scenery. I mean,
yeah.
going out to St.
Hmm.
George and just watching everybody, I was like, man, I need to be here. I need to be competing. And so I was glad I signed up for that. It took a lot. The hardest part is just getting over the anxiety of signing up for some of these races. And then
Hmm.
once you're there, you kind of get in the zone. So, but no, the bike ride is good. I started uh, road biking. I guess got my first road bike. I don't know, probably in my early 20s. But I never really got, one speed, one route, just kind of goofing off doing
Yeah, right.
very minimal distances. So yeah.
So I'm really interested in this quick sort of pickup of the sport and really being quite successful. You went from really not being able to swim at all and really, for having your first open water experience with a wetsuit to where you did the Olympic, with 1.5
Yeah.
kilometers. What did you do
In that
between?
open water too. Yeah.
What did you do
With at
between?
Sand Hollow.
What did you do between that start and the swim to Sand Hollow to give you that confidence of doing that?
Yeah, well, I was introduced to Coach Hillary, I guess back in at one of the races, and then we had been in chats and stuff. And then I told her, okay, I really want to get serious. I would love to do a 70.3. And so we were just kind of kicking the tires, trying to figure out how we do this and which one I sign up for and all this stuff. And so I ended up picking Waco, which is in October, because being from Dallas, I have all the resources there to train and so forth. And so we ended up starting to work together at the beginning of this year. And I found that to be such a great help because one, you have someone that's experienced to lean on for insights and stuff. And then also too, you have the accountability of someone putting it in the app of what you're supposed to do every day. And she knows if you did it. So it's pretty
He
clear.
knows if you don't do your homework.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I think it's just having that accountability and being as far as to answer your question regarding the swim, I spent a significant amount of time in the water with Dax over at the pools, and so he was a great help in the water and just kind of teaching me just the basic fundamentals of the human body, and that's something that he really emphasizes is just it's just taking just the basic science of the body and letting that do some of the work for you and not overthinking it. Because
That's
literally,
such a good way to put it.
yeah, I'd go 15 meters and I'd get so much water in my nose or whatever. Goggles were leaking. It was always something. So, did 8 or so sessions or so in the water with him, and that's when I saw the swim time going, and then Hillary's got me on all the the biking and the running regiments and swimming regiments now and
I
stuff.
love
But
it.
I think my biggest problem right now is enemy is time. I think anyone can
Mm,
relate. Just today, what came in the door 10 minutes ago from work, and I think I walked out of the door at 7:30, 7:45 this morning, and it's just really hard to find that time. I think obviously it's sometimes self-inflicted, the excuses of not being able to do it, but I think that's if I could have anything and more, it would be a little extra couple hours in the day or in the morning to help train. I think I hit a panic button when I Googled how many days it is until October 6th, my 7.3. So
I love it.
I need to
Well,
make some pretty significant life changes pretty
I
soon.
love it. I love it.
Overdue.
Well, what I'm hearing is really two things that you did going forward. One is getting consistent with training or working with someone to get a good training regime in your lifestyle. And then the other, seeking out some experience in terms of improving in swimming. And I applaud you for doing that because we have such great, expertise in our endurance community here. And being able to tap into that is really quite brilliant. But
Yeah.
I think this is something, and Bob and I were talking beforehand. Anytime you have a young family, it's always interesting to hear how people balance family and triathlon because triathlon can become all encompassing pretty quick. So
How
Yeah.
do you do that? And how do you, with your kids and your wife, how does she
It's
feel about this?
it's certainly tough. I mean, like no shortage of moments in our household when I walk by that, you know, door or open up the garage at 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, coming, going. But what I realized yesterday, I mean, I'm really starting to, I'm gonna peel back the onion, guys. So it's like I take the thing and just start peeling it back. Like, where can I get more time? And I figured I spend 12 hours a week sitting in a chair watching my son play soccer, and I've been doing it for I don't know, since February. And then I'm like, gosh, sucks. And so I'm like, okay, I can just run around the soccer field. And so like last night, and it just hit me last night. I never thought about it. So I just start talking to the dads, whatever. And yeah, I literally just was like, guys, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go run a mile and a half or however long this is. And so yeah, it was hot, but I did it. And so I think that's the mindset I need to get to. But yeah, unfortunately juggling when you see like, Sam Long, for example, I'm like, yeah, he doesn't work 60 hours a week and coach soccer.
Right,
I mean,
right.
but it's just another excuse. But I mean, can you find the time? Yes. And I think that's, as being young and new to the sport, I think that's one of my biggest regrets, is I didn't prioritize the training enough earlier on. And I think if I had to go back in time, I'd be like, man, I probably could have gotten up at 5:30 instead of 6:30. I probably could have done a little more here, not gone on that trip, and so forth. So,
You've
but
been
yeah,
doing this for a year. You've learned
I
more in a
know.
year than most people learn in 5. So
Yeah.
good grief, you're doing fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I
And
know.
and and
I
it's
have
real
no
creative.
regrets. I have no regrets of anything except for that. But again, I have plenty of time to make it up. And, hopefully I did sign up for the T100 2 weeks after Waco.
I love
I
it.
figured I'd
Wow.
already be in
Well,
pretty good shapes. All right.
what
Okay.
what I heard, and I really love this, is how do you fit exercise into a busy lifestyle? And
Mhm.
there are
Mhm.
different ways to do that. And like exercising while you're watching the soccer game. I mean, that's brilliant. But you're
That's
working
that's
it into
creative.
your lifestyle. Yeah. And I think that's really a testament to how you're improving in the sport at the same time. So let's look forward. What are you looking at for the rest of this year? I've already heard a couple of races. Or where
Yeah,
are
I
you
think
headed goal wise?
now, I mean, like growing up in Texas, I try not to let the heat bother me, and living in the Middle East for a while, it's way hotter out there than it is here, trust me. But I think just really focusing on, I've tried to, I think I've got work in a better spot now, to where I'm not starting my, international calls at 6 in the morning and 7 in the morning and so forth. So I can get up at a reasonable hour, still be productive in the day, but still get my training, priority training out of the way, early enough in the mornings. And then still, get home at a decent hour where I can, hey, go do some stretching or running, during a family activity. But I think, I mean, I certainly have some goals. I have, tons of, I'm starting to kind of start with some data now of kind of where I want to be time wise, in October. I know, where I need to be, on the swim. I would love to be around, 42 minutes for the swim, and so I've kind of locked that target in, and now I've like, okay, let's start locking in some numbers on the bike as I start further training on the bike. I also haven't, on my TT bike, as some of you guys know, I've just got it this year, and I've probably only been on it maybe 6 or 7 times, including the races. So I'm still not comfortable in the bars yet, but that's something that's going to come with
Yeah.
time as well.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I'd like to get your perspective on, because you've been doing this for about a year and has a very concentrated first year. So what sticks in your mind about your journey so far as what surprised you? What have you learned in the year that
I
other people in the same boat could have benefit from?
think what's key is, I think, my, obviously the biggest thing I'd never want to do this is the swim. I mean, that was the hardest hurdle to get over by far. And then
Mhm.
those, if you YouTube like Ironman motivation, I mean, that's like the worst thing you can look at, because all you see is the Eminem song playing with 1,000 people swimming over each other, looking like people are drowning. And that's all you see. So, I think David said it best. It's like, no one goes into a race with the intention of trying to drown somebody or kill somebody. And I think even Bob, you told me, like, if you touch someone's feet or bump into someone, don't stop and apologize to them. This, everyone's just trying to get through it. But yeah, I think, getting over that hurdle was huge. And just getting
Yeah,
that
that's a big one.
in the water and stuff. So I'll still stand around for a, three potato, 4 potato, and let some people get off and do their thing. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
try to make it up. But that's kind of where
And
That's
I'm
that's
so
at.
wise
smart
as
too.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so smart because you don't lose anything by doing that. You actually
Yeah.
gain something by finding your own swim lane, if you will, as you start the swim.
Mhm.
Well, Brendan,
One
this is
other
great.
thing I just wanted to say about you're setting a time. Be careful with that, because that's
Yeah.
that's one easy, speaking from experience, and John can vouch for this on me, but you set a time and you want to hit it, and that kind of takes over your common sense.
Mm,
It can, so
Yeah.
don't focus on that time. Just do
Yeah.
the put the work in. And
Yeah.
you're real smart. You're going to figure all this out.
But I think what's right, to further answer your question, it's more of like the amount of people I've met just in this short period of time. I mean, I could probably name, I don't know, 15 Tri Club members, and probably maybe say a little something about each one just from our races together or breakfast together or meetings together, and just how nice and welcoming the people were, and the willingness to answer any questions that I have, and even in some of these new races, just asking other members like, hey, I had my earplugs in, I didn't hear anything that guy just said on the bullhorn. What do I, where's the turn and stuff. So no, it's just been real. That's been the biggest shocker, I think. It's just the welcoming of all the people, and kind of that mentality that, oh, these endurance racers, that it's just kind of different than what I expected. So I think it's been
That's a good surprise and a good shock, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny. We say, triathlon is an individual sport, but we don't do it alone. And when you have a community around you, it really does make it enjoyable and somewhat a little bit easier at the same time. So, and you're a big part of that. And it's nice to have you at our events and being participating in different clinics, and that's important. So, Brendan, this is great to talk with you. I'm so glad we had a chance to hear a little bit more about your background and what you're going to want to do going forward. I look forward to tracking you at Waco 70.3, and looking forward to seeing you at the next event that we have locally even.
I got to give one more shout out to Ron at Maximum Velocity. He did, for the record, I didn't mention the other coaches, but obviously he got me going for a couple of weeks, realized how I got my stress fractures and so forth, and got me on a nice little plan to succeed at running. And so I got a good baseline of where to go from here. But yeah, that's it, man.
Oh,
I
awesome.
appreciate the time, and thanks for all the support, and look forward to more events and trying to help out the club.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for being on. And it's really great having you in the club.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right. Have a great evening, everyone.
Well, that time went by like a